proud to have him here and get to show off. I don't know, maybe one or two of these fish, I don't know, two or three are probably stalkers, but 90% of these are all wild. He's not shy of showing you what he caught them on. You're going to see the green weenie in here. You're going to see some of the nymphs that we tied. So you can feel free to ask him about the flies. I'd be glad to tell you about that. But we can go ahead and get started. And this is Jake. And go ahead if you want to. I can get the video started if you want to talk about it before I.
All right. Okay. My name is Jacob Fowler. I'm from Monongahela. Let's just go with that. I've completely fallen in love with the aspect of chasing after the wilds and natives and even the stalkers. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna complain about what is biting on the end of my line, but I found up around this area within a 20-mile radius of here, exactly right here, you can find some of the best fishing, probably the most underrated fishing in the area. There's a ton of fish out there. Most of the time you don't even go out just for the fish. You're here for the scenery. You're here for the bugs. You're here for the small details of what makes fly fishing, to me, fly fishing. When you guys are going to see here is all local. It is all local, like I told you, in a 15 to 20 mile radius, or even closer than that. So make sure you get on your phones, do a lot of research. Google Maps is your best friend. It is legitimately your best friend, especially when you know what to look for. And I'll dive into that a little bit. And if you want to start that video here.
Yep. Ryan, when you go down the steps, hang it right. The first light switch, we'll just turn that one off. There we go. Make it clear for everybody. Hopefully no technical difficulties tonight.
And these are some headwaters you guys are seeing here. Hold some wild brownies, some more local streams with some
That's
browns.
pretty big.
That is a stalker. I believe that is a holdover brown, but I mean just the coloration and the variation of that fish is the outlines of the blacks, the dots. Now you can see behind the eye there is a simple black dot. That is a major indicator of a wild brown trout, especially from what they eat and the water quality and whatnot is what gives them that black dot. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. I love these fish more than sometimes myself. Now you guys will see here it's frozen. I come back out of this hole and then look at the frog eggs. That is one of the coolest things. And then here's some more of that headwaters that I fished on Sunday. Found an old broken road actually walking up it. But
Explain what headwaters is.
headwaters are essentially what the waters that come out of the mountain, or just the start of the stream, and it's coming right out of the mountain, which means it's very cold and high water quality. You guys can see the mountain laurel, rhododendrons around that stream, which provide cover. The big boulders provide cover. The moss helps create the bugs, get them moving. You guys can see how there's all this cover here, all these trees, limbs and whatnot. That is a major, and there's Doug's squirmy wormy right there. Doug has supplied me with some flies, guys, that, I mean, they're the most simple flies, but this guy here is absolutely the back adipose fin here, where that red is.
Right here.
Fire engine red is probably one of the prettiest browns. There's a native brook trout way up in the headwaters of what you guys were just seeing and around the area. All these little red dots, and you can see that major indicator of a black dot there. The back adipose fin. That is one of my favorite parts of a wild brown trout, is that back adipose fin. Now you guys can see here, if you don't mind pausing that one. This is probably a yearly hatch, or last year's hatch. Or in the fall, and he just coming in. This was early spring, so he probably was just hatching. You guys can see how small he is, and that back adipose fin is just beautiful. But I caught on another one of Doug's flies that he tied up here, little orange beaded pheasant tail, just size 16, throwing it off of a dry, and those little guys like to eat that up. I think that orange and red and pink really get the attention of some of these wild browns, especially in this area. If you don't mind playing. Now of course it's going to take forever, but one of my favorite ways to fish in this area, especially once the water gets a little bit warmer, is a dry dropper. As you can see here, I'm getting low and trying to keep myself out of the line of sight of some of these fish. And what you guys just seen me do there, stalking, especially when that water's clear, guys, stay low as you can, stay off the hole as much as you can. You want to not let those fish know that you're there, because they are smart and they know what to look for. And again, with that back out, I love that. I had to put that in there twice. Here's some more around the area waters. As you guys can see, all the rocks, limbs, trees, that is all helping sustain the wild trout populations in this area. We need those big boulders, we need the shade, we need the logs, we need everything just to be able to keep these fish out of sight and out of mind, and enough bugs and whatnot. Like you can see there, that moss and all the different little cuts there within.
Beautiful.
I love it. I just love it. It is, honestly, it is one of my favorite things to do, is take pictures, video. As you got, like here, this is one of my favorite little shots. You guys see how I'm standing behind that big boulder? Like, look at the size of these boulders that I'm walking up against. I mean, these are all major indicators that it could possibly be a wild reproducing stream, in my opinion. You're looking for the mountain laurel, you're looking for the elevation, especially, I want to say above 1,800 feet here, at maybe 2,000 feet. Now, there is Mr. Doug's Y2K right there in that fish's mouth. During like the late fall, early winter, I love throwing an egg pattern. I mean, if you guys are not throwing an egg pattern during the fall, winter, and even sometimes in the spring, Ugg bugs, stuff like that, it really should be on. You guys really should throw an egg pattern. These fish, especially with the wild and the stock fish together, these wild fish are shooting out eggs, and these stock fish will eat those eggs. Wild fish also will eat those eggs. Now, there is the green weenie, I guess you guys have tied with Mr.
That was
Doug
our
before.
first one they did.
Now, that is probably, I'll say this about every fish, I'm sorry, but that is probably the most beautiful fish wild I've ever caught, with those halos. That was way up in a small stream around this area. Anywhere you could find a small little trib that's going into a major body of water around this area, you guys will find those fish. You just have to put in the time. Don't get discouraged, I promise you. Native brook trout. I love the yellow dots on those guys. Little rainbow there. Y2K in its mouth. There's another shot of that Headwaters Falls. But I didn't even know anything about wild or native fish 5 years ago. Nothing. Knew nothing about it. I always thought trout were the easiest fish to catch. Here's a green weenie tied here.
Is that a brown trout?
Yes, it is. Yeah. That is a very small little wild brownie. I like to use a 3-weight. I especially in these smaller streams, I like the 8-9 3-weight. I think it's a perfect, for me it's perfect. A lot of guys like to go 7-foot 3-weights when you're in real tighter spots, but the 8-9 to me gives me a little bit more, that I can get more of a bow and arrow cast, and for me to get into a little bit longer sections, because you can't make that back cast. You can't make your full-fledged, fly casting competition casts. You want to get down low, make your precise bow and arrow cast, like you see me in the one clip where I'm hunched down and making precise casts with those dries. Here's a little native
Look
brook
at that
trout.
thing you tried to eat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about the same size as his head to his gill plate. I mean, probably longer than his gill, down to his gill plate, from the tip of his nose past his gill plate. I mean, these little guys are eaters, and especially these browns. Those browns are meat eaters, and they are hiding in some of the most skinniest water and smallest crevices, and there is that stimulator that I love to use. Yep. That stimulator is, I want to say it, what is that, a size 12 or 10?
Yeah, I need 12 or a 14.
I want to
yeah.
say a 12. But I love using the size 12 stimulators as not just an indicator, but also as your top fly. Sometimes those fish, when the water temperature is still a little bit up, they want a bigger of a meal. Their metabolism's firing a little bit faster. They're going to want something that they can munch on and go back underneath their rock or into the crevice that they're looking for, or that they live in. I'm sorry. Here's another little. Now you can tell that this one here.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I want to. Lively legs, the oranges, the pinks, pheasant tails are really a really good ticket for your flies around here, and that's the end of the video.
Now,
But
how many different type of trout have you caught in this area?
All up.
yeah.
I know, but
Native-
like how many are there?
Native
You
brook
can
trout, wild brown trout, and then you have your stalkers. You have your stalked rainbow trout, your brook trout, brown trout. But the main fish that I chase after is native brook trout and wild brown trout. I nothing against stocked fish, but when it comes to stockfish, you mostly see somebody or around more people. I kind of
Not
like
against
this.
the fish or against the people that fish.
Yeah, unfortunately. I
I'm
love people,
100%
but
with you.
if
Well,
I'm
we've never seen each other.
Yep, I would not mind that at
See,
all.
exactly.
As long as we both have the same stimulator on, tied here
Right.
on as a Doug, then we're good to go. But yeah, I absolutely am in love with this area and in love with chasing after these wild and native brook trout and wild brown trout and the native brook trout in this area. And don't be afraid to look up. A lot of guys are looking down, concentrating on the hole. Look up, see what's flying around, dig underneath some rocks. Make sure you get a small net that has stuff that you're able to catch and topple over some rocks, catch and see what you can find there. Try to match the hatch. That's what a lot of bass guys used to say, was matching the hatch. Well, a lot of bass stuff and trout are kind of intertwined together. I mean, it's essentially the same thing. It's just you're chasing after a different fish at different focal points. But to me, I would just highly suggest you get out there and just put in the time. Don't get defeated. Don't feel overwhelmed. You're there to enjoy the nature and also to catch the fish. But chasing after the fish and being rewarded with that fish, especially the time that you put in. There's times where I can't go to sleep at night because I want to find new water. I'm literally pinning things at 3 o'clock in the morning and I have to be at work at 6. You know, it's just an obsession. And once you dive really into it and find out what's in that area bug-wise, you will catch more fish. I promise. And it's not just about catching the fish, guys. The mountain laurel, the waterfalls, I mean, everything that you get to see, you're not going to see it from a screen sitting at home. I mean, you're going to, if you really want to dive in and find these fish, just take your time, make your precise casts, work on your casts, stay low, and you guys will find them. This area is very underrated, in my opinion, in the wild and native trout. I mean, it's very underrated. And
Let's keep it that way.
I try to. At
What
least.
goes on here stays here.
That's why I showed up. I gotta hear what he had to say.
No, but if you did look around in the background and everything, it's what I always said, that fish is just a bonus.
Yep.
If you looked at everywhere, that fish don't live in no ugly spot. So
No.
Just be
Even if
cautious
you don't
though when
catch
you-
something, look around.
Just be cautious in the summer though, when you're going to these streams. Be careful of rattlesnakes.
Yep.
There is a good bit of rattlesnakes and copperheads.
Yep. I've
And if you're 3 miles from your car and you get bit, you're gonna have a problem.
yeah. And the cucumber, they say.
Yes,
is-
smells like
so
copperhead.
there was a time I walked into a stream and all of a sudden you got that huge whiff of cucumber. I turned my butt around. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I love fishing, but I'm trying not to get bit. So
Yeah.
just be. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
But keep in mind, if you hear a rattlesnake, he's letting you know where
Right.
he is so you can go around.
Right.
Listen, just go around. Real simple.
And it's not just snakes either. There's bigger mammals out there as well. Bear, coyote. You know, there's.
So let's talk about that first. What have you run into?
Bear.
And have they ever been aggressive?
Never.
Okay.
If
But
they have cubs, you
Yes.
want to be extremely
yes,
careful.
yes.
With somebody, I like to carry a bat, maybe like about that big. Because if you see that bear, you ain't got to be the fastest runner. So you grab that little bat and you hit your buddy's knee, and you're in the clear. You're in good shape. The bat works.
Drove here tonight, it's way more dangerous doing that.
You see a really
Exactly.
big, skinny
You're absolutely
bird.
right.
That's the one you want to leave alone, so most like it's injured and hungry.
Yeah.
Common sense will take you a long way.
And the ball bat with a friend. You ain't got to be the fastest runner.
So you're telling me I should carry the bat?
When you go by yourself, you don't hit yourself.
That works with alligators too. Same thing. Yeah, just trip the guy you're with.
No.
You're good.
No, but if you guys have any questions, I have a YouTube channel. It's the Mon Valley Fisherman, all one word. Since I'm from Monongahela, I have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, a TikTok page. If you ever have any questions about this area up here, or what you think might work and whatnot, give me a shout. I'm always willing to talk about stuff. Like I don't mean this in a rude way, but I will not give you spots. A lot of people online really give me a lot of hard times about not giving up these spots, but I don't want to put any pressure on these bodies of water. If you find it, that's great. That's honestly, you will feel more fulfilled if you go out and put in the time and work to be able to find these fish than someone telling you where to go, what to use, in every aspect. You will come to find your own way of fly fishing. When you find your way of fly fishing, go with it. You have your go-to fly that you're going to use all the time.
Your confidence fly.
Your confidence fly. If stuff's going bad, tie that on. Tie that on. That little bit of confidence in that fly will give you better casts, in my opinion, will put you into that right mindset of where you need to be to find those fish. But,
What was your contact information again?
the Mon Valley Fisherman.
He'll be here all night.
Okay.
Anytime. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, where was this?
You know where it was.
I know that rock.
And I'm telling you, it 15 miles away from here in a radius, there's water everywhere, guys. There is a lot. And there's some streams out there that aren't put on the internet that hold these wilds, they hold them. You just have to find them and put in the time. You will find them, I promise you. It is so much fun, especially dry dropper season. Oh, I can't wait.
No, when's dry droppers?
A dry fly on top and a nymph hanging off of it.
That's what called dry drop. That's my favorite. That's my favorite way to fish because you can use your dry fly as an indicator, so you're not having that big plop of plastic hitting on the surface or styrofoam hitting on the surface. You have that dry fly hitting the surface. Then you have your smaller fly or your small nymph or something underneath. If they're not going to eat that dry, most likely they're going to hit that nymph, and that'll give you a good indication as to when you get bit. So.
Great small stream reef.
What's that?
For all small streams, that works.
For me, yes, and
That's
even
what I mean.
bigger
That,
water
no
too.
No matter what,
Yeah.
bigger water too, but bigger water sometimes is not as effective. But
Right,
on small water,
right.
all the time.
See, I like
That'll work.
those stimulators. I like to use those big stimulators, like size 10s and 12s and bigger waters, to help you be able to keep that tungsten fly if you have a longer dropper and a tungsten fly, so it's not sinking, so you have that more natural drift.
Yeah. I mean, when you want to go 5,
Straight
6 feet
down,
down,
right, yeah,
I'm going to
no,
use an indicator
no,
of
yeah,
right.
yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Like anything from, I would say 1 or 6 inches of water to 3 feet. That's your primal dry dropper.
Yeah, no need for the indicator. Let them eat the indicator.
Yep,
Right.
exactly right.
And Jake, what is your last name again?
Fowler, F as in Frank, Owler. You guys can find me on Facebook as well. give me a shout on personal page or my fishing page. Doesn't matter. I will gladly talk to anyone anytime. I don't care if it's at 2 o'clock in the morning. Give me a shout. We'll talk fishing.
All right, you got it?
Yeah, are you
All right.
on Instagram?
I am.
I'll follow you.
Thank you so much.
Instagram.
Yeah. He'll be here all night helping us with knots and do whatever. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ask.
Yep, just knock me over and say, hey.
So, well, thank you very much, Jake. Appreciate all your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.